What's new with 24 quarterback commitment CJ Carr?
Yeah, so CJ Carr at the Elite 11 finals in Los Angeles, Darren, and was named to the Elite 11 final. So basically, the Elite 11 invites 20 of the top quarterbacks in the country, and I believe it was, it's not like the top 20. You have some 3-star guys kind of sprinkled in there. There's a kid from Indianapolis who's committed to Colorado was even there. He's a 3-star kid, but I think it was something like 12 of the top 20 quarterbacks per the On3 industry ranking were there. So some big-time talent. So Carr gets named to the Elite 11, and for folks watching on YouTube, I'll pull it up. It was listed alphabetically, though, so we know that Julian Sayin, Alabama's quarterback commit, was the MVP per the Elite 11 staff, but I think all the different websites had Sayin as the MVP as well, including On3, I believe. But the Elite 11 didn't rank, 2 through 11. Well, On3 did. They listed Carr as their number 9 quarterback at the event, which then there's outrage about, that decision to have him at 9. And I think 24/7 had him at 5. I mean, guys, what CJ's ranking aside, which I completely disagree with. I mean, it's not like he's the tallest short person here. I mean, this is 20 of the best quarterbacks in the country. You're number between 5 and 9 in the top, these 20 quarterbacks at this kind of camp. Pretty darn good, Darren. He had a really strong showing. His pro day was outstanding, which folks on YouTube, we're watching, I believe, a little bit out of this here, or this just might be some day one routes on air. But regardless, strong showing all around for CJ Carr there. If you want to, get all in your feelings about a few spots and some meaningless ranking, I truly don't think it's that important. But yeah, overall, you had a good week. I guess one of the criticisms about him coming out of the week was, sometimes he can get, flustered when things aren't, perfect. Like if he doesn't have that clean pocket, things get a little uncomfortable. That he'll struggle at times. It is what it is. It's something that he'll work on. He'll get practice on. The kid is an elite talent overall. That's not changing. But yeah, CJ Carr, an Elite 11 finalist, and was named to the Elite 11. So congrats to Notre Dame's quarterback commit.
Now to the defensive side of the football, one of the premier talents coming out of Chicago is defensive lineman Justin Scott. We have followed his progress through your words and, of course, verbally here on the program, and also written at blueandgold.com. So I guess he visited Miami over the weekend. Any news come out of that?
Yeah, he spoke to Chad Simmons at On3 and said that Miami's at the top for him. Now, I've heard that. I believe it was that exact phrase he said. I will check, but he did. I don't think he said leader. I think it was at the top. Yeah, it was at the top. So I've heard that many times, but in my follow-up, whenever a recruit tells me that as well, like at the top with other schools, or like they're the number 1 school. I didn't get that clarification. But it's the top 5 of Miami, Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Georgia. He's taken officials to Georgia, Michigan, and Miami, and heads to Ohio State this weekend. The most interesting thing about this interview with On3 that Scott did was saying that he might just commit this summer. Now, he hasn't been to Notre Dame since March, I believe it was. Yeah. And he's only been on campus 3 times. And he's not taking an official to Notre Dame this summer. Notre Dame wants him on campus for their Ohio State game. Get him on campus last. But if he commits this summer, that's probably not good for Notre Dame unless Scott visits at the end of July, which is, of course, still summer. And I'm told Notre Dame is working on it. I asked Scott myself and got a response from him. He said he hasn't, completely locked that in yet. But there is a potential that Notre Dame gets the 5-star talent from Chicago St. Ignatius on campus in July. So if he does commit this summer and he makes it to Notre Dame and that visit goes really well and then commits after that, then it could be pretty good news. But I think more likely than not, if he commits this summer, that's not good for Notre Dame. The Irish staff is playing the long game here. Have him stretch this into the fall. take the official for the Ohio State game, get them that last OV, and lock them up later in the process. I think it's whether it's a wise decision or not, it is up for debate. It is a little bit risky to say, hey, we won't have you on campus for the summer, but we're going to get you for the Ohio State game for that OV. And we'll see where it goes from there, Darren. I don't know. I still like Notre Dame here. I'm rolling with the Notre Dame sources, but I can't say I have very much confidence at all. I mean, I don't think anyone can have a whole lot of confidence at all. So that's a long way to say Miami Vision went really well. The Hurricanes considered the leader by some, maybe even most at this point, but Notre Dame playing the long game. But the wheels could come off the wagon here if he commits in the summer and he's not able to get back to Notre Dame.
Mike, I know this is a little apples and oranges, but when you think back to last year, you had this enormous talent in Keon Keeley committed, then decommitted, and then it was a scramble to find pieces to replace him. Notre Dame's in really good shape with their defensive line recruiting in this class. So if they get Scott, it's just obviously an enormous opportunity for the program, but it's not like they're waiting or other guys are waiting in the wings for him to make a decision.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's 4 defensive line commits already, and in Bryce Young, Logan Thomas, Cole Mullen, Sean Sevillano. Those 4 build a 4-man front there too. I mean, you have your true Viper in Logan Thomas. Sean Sevillano is your nose. Cole Mullen's, a Viper or a strong side end. And then who's the 4th? Mullins, Young, Sevillano, Thomas. I guess there's not like a true defensive tackle, but that's not something Notre Dame wanted a true nose and then to surround him by, some of these edge prospects. But they hit their mark of 4. Scott and or Elijah Rushing would be, you don't want to say cherry on top because those would be the best players in the class, but it is a luxury. Yeah. It'd just be a really darn good luxury. So yeah, you're hitting the nail on the head there.